Good evening. Welcome to the council meetings of September 16th, 2025. If anyone in the audience needs amplifying headphones, please raise your hand and we'll bring those to you shortly. Not seeing any? Let's rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hey, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, I will. Councilmember Bush.
Here.
Councilmember Stearns here. Councilmember Fillmore.
Here.
Mayor Nisco.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sherman.
Here.
Councilmember South.
Here.
Harris.
Here. Thank you, Mary. The council have any late changes to the agenda? City manager, any late changes?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Council have any board reports to share? Right. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. The council invites the public to make comments on matters of city business. Comments shall be made to the entire council, not individual council members. Please refrain from any personal or disrespectful remarks that create disruption to the meeting. If unreasonable, destructive conduct continues, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Mary, anyone sign up to public comment?
I'm sure we do this. Sure. Yeah, for the signage for this. She brought me the list.
Was anybody on Spark?
Sorry.
There's no way to sign up.
Dean wanted to.
Gotta sign another one. Is there anybody on that, Mary? We'll just, you're on that one. We're good.
Good.
No worries.
I'll speak. I'll make it good.
Right, Mary?
I'm
Juggling two
sure.
meetings.
For sure.
You guys all set?
Ready?
Good evening, council members. We are seeing a steady decline in the condition of our parks, sidewalks, and public spaces, caused not only by homelessness and vagrancy, but by a clear lack of leadership and coordination. The issues of encampments, garbage accumulation, shopping cart abandonment, and public safety are not just nuisances. They are signs of a system that is failing both the community and the unhoused. We need a change in the approach, one that is proactive, balanced, and enforceable. First, we need to enforce the camping ban ordinance that we already have, paired with mandated outreach efforts. This means enforcement cannot happen in a vacuum. Whenever a ban is enforced, there must be outreach workers present offering services, shelter options, and transportation. Without that dual approach, we are simply moving the problem around rather than addressing it, just like they are in Post Office Park. Second, I propose a formation of a public response space safety team, a dedicated unit comprised of sanitation staff, outreach professionals, and law enforcement trained specifically to address illegal encampments, dumping, and park degradation. This team should have the authority and responsibility to respond quickly and effectively, not just when complaints arise, but on a routine basis. We need to strengthen and enforce the shopping cart ordinance. Businesses must retrieve abandoned carts within 24 to 48 hours for face-to fines. We already have an ordinance on it, but if you look around, there's shopping carts abound. So it's not working. So we got to do something about that. Damage the landscape. They become vehicles for trash accumulation. This is a low-hanging fruit. Enforcing this sends a message that we are serious about maintaining order in our shared spaces. Finally, we need transparency. Publish monthly data that shows the number of encampments resolved, public spaces cleaned, and code violations addressed. The public deserves to see progress and know where our tax dollars are going. This is not about punishments. It's about restoring balance, protecting public spaces. It's not in conflict with compassion. In fact, true compassion includes setting standards, enforcing them fairly, and ensuring our parks and sidewalks are safe and usable for everyone. We don't need more task forces or pilot programs. We need visible action, clear accountability, and the political will to follow through. Let's stop managing the crisis passively and start leading decisively. So This is nothing new to us. A lot of it's common sense stuff. I'd really like to see Mark and Travis really get together and work together, just like Chief Costad and Sheriff Spurley. We need to have that collaboration between the two people, and then we need to follow through with what we're doing. And it really needs to be a proactive approach versus a reactive. So whatever we can do, and whatever help that you could give, it would certainly be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all quick.
Right.
Can I didn't get a chance to sign it.
Oh. Can you sign in, Kathy, and then talk? Okay.
And so, he mentioned the sidewalks. And, I've been talking about the sidewalks for a long time. I never talked about the sidewalks until I got it's been hard to, walk on some of these sidewalks, and they're breaking up. And so the other day I was walking, I thought I was careful, and I caught my toe. I did not go down. But I'm thinking, what if I had gone down? So I'm just encouraging you to work on those sidewalks and get them safe for the citizens of Sheldon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Our first presentation tonight is from EDC, Executive Director Kevin Schutte has information for us. Mason County EDC.
Good evening, council, staff, and members of the public. Kevin Schutte with Mason County Economic Development Council. We're excited to be here this evening to share some updates with you, particularly with our industry sector analysis study that we completed earlier this summer. It was a really informative process for us. We had a really good review of current state data to take a look at where our employment trends are going, what's our population doing, and how do we sustain our economy currently in Mason County. And we also had an opportunity to do some outreach to businesses as well as industry leaders within our community to be able to kind of ground truth what the data was telling us and really learn firsthand about some of the opportunities and challenges that our industries are facing in Mason County. And so through that, we were able to put together a list of recommendations that serve as our blueprint at the Economic Development Council to be able to support jobs and opportunity in Mason County, and work on infrastructure and housing projects and things of those nature to help improve our economic standing here in Mason County. I think as we go through the presentation tonight, you'll see that there are some things in there that are not surprises, and a couple of things in there that might be a surprise or at least some new information for you to consider. I also just want to thank the council as well as Mark and his team for being great partners in the work of economic development in our community. We have a lot of good things happening for Mason County and in Shelton in particular, and the only way we're able to achieve those things is through good partnership, and the city is certainly a great partner to work with. And then I just also want to thank our team at the Economic Development Council. Carmen Leach is our business development manager. She's really boots on the ground, doing a lot of our business retention and expansion work out in the community, and helping just run a lot of the day-to-day functions of our organization. Just celebrated her 10-year anniversary with the EDC. I'm sure some of you may have seen that on social media this past week. And then, of course, with us tonight is Tiana Dunbar. She's our external affairs manager, and she is the brains and the engine behind all of our marketing and outreach efforts in the community. And so she'll be handling the bulk of tonight's presentation for us. After she gets through that, we're happy to answer any questions. So thank you for the opportunity. With that, I'll turn it over to Tiana.
Meeting here, City Council. Just looking at this, it's gonna look like our project today, but bear with me. So what is the cluster study analysis? It's basically looking at all of the top industry clusters. So manufacturing, you would have like a tree fab, their media, things like that, all under one cluster study. So what this is identifying those clusters where we are competitive compared to the national average. So this study was conducted by Jason Robertson and Co. And we were able to obtain these services through ARPA funds from the county. The purpose of this study was to identify key industries, like we just discussed, identify their strengths and opportunities, to hopefully generate some long-term economic growth by supporting and expanding these identified industry clusters. We used a couple of different methods in order to put this analysis together. One was data analysis of existing economic conditions. 2, compiling a full buyer, purchaser, supply chain assessment. 3, hosting community presentations to better inform our study in the direction of which it is going. 4, we did host a countywide survey. And 5, we did hold 4 industry sector group focus groups. 1 in healthcare, forest products, manufacturing, and agriculture and aquaculture. Third slide, can you go back one?
Absolutely.
Cool. So back one.
Title slide?
Yeah, so again, this is an art project today, so very. So which industries were identified as target industries? Some of these might be surprising, others may not. Healthcare and social services, definitely. Forest products should be mentioned there. Manufacturing, agriculture and aquaculture, and accommodation and food services. I did want to point out though that we do have an emerging industry in arts, entertainment, and recreation. However, we did decide to go with accommodation and food services because it has greater employment and revenue impacts. Additionally, there are other ways to support this emerging industry, like, for example, City of Shelton is doing a really good job working on creating a downtown creative district. So we felt like that industry is being supported elsewhere. We're going to lean more into the accommodation and food services. Yes, thank you. So there's a couple considerations when identifying these as key industries to our local economy. And that's based on a number of factors. So one definitely being the volume of jobs. We'll talk about it later. You'll see where the highest employment is. Location quotients, which I would like everybody on the council to remember that anything higher than 1 means that we have the competitive advantage here in Mason County. And we really need to support those industries. That's how we are competitive compared to the national average. So anything higher than 1. 3, employment growth or growth outpacing average or projected to do so. So some of these have the ability to grow if they're nurtured. Sectors containing above average wages, we want to support this as well. And then multiplier effects, so help support other industries. The forest products industry, for example, they create lumber, remove construction people need, they need wood. So that's where that comes into play. And I just wanted to say that before we move on, the study focuses on 2 things. 1, supporting jobs that pay well, and 2, working with our workforce development partners in order to train and fill those employment gaps that we're facing already. We do that through a variety of avenues, but the Pack Mountain Workforce Development Council is one of our #1 partners on that, as well as partnering with the local colleges. So let's break down these sectors, shall we? Healthcare and social services, it's a well-integrated sector between the 2 of them. They work well together. We do have really strong local training pipelines. For example, you know, get your CNA license from Shelton Health and Rehab or Third Lane, great programs. However, the sector is definitely facing provider shortages, especially in specialty care. The aging population is it's extremely important for us to lean into this. If this sector was supported in obtaining more facility space, they would be able to expand, but there's some barriers with low Medicaid reimbursement and access to care in rural areas. So we can learn how to solve some of those issues and overcome help the healthcare and social services. So throughout this presentation, I'll also be connecting it back to our legislative priorities with EDC. These are things that we are focusing on, so we're connecting those states to identify additional clusters. And they will repeat, a lot of these will repeat and make sense to them at the end of this presentation. But the connection here, workforce training, education and career pipelines, healthcare, forestry and trades. So you'll hear this again later, but that's one identified priority that we have into the next year. So moving forward, forest products, I'm sure this is not a shocker to you guys, but this is definitely a historical industry for Mason County. This is what our roots were built on. The location quotient is 0.75. That means that our timber industry here in Mason County is stronger compared to the national average. Not only do we have an abundant supply of timber due to sustainable forest practices and land management, but we also have great transportation for lumber as well. But even with automation, the mills are still facing labor shortages, just as one example of the sector, especially for the more skilled positions that require extra training, so millwrights and things like that. We do have the opportunity to develop school programs to help further the workforce development pipeline, starting younger and getting people engaged with this industry younger. Ultimately, to develop that pipeline to livable wage jobs here in Mason County. The industry does need support for its biomass innovation. Basically, there's byproducts of the timber industry that add value to the timber industry. So we definitely need support for that, and we need to be working on broader promotion of forest products, just in a changing urbanizing environment. So the legislative priority of workforce training is coming back here. We need more skilled workers in this profession. Then also the State Route 3 Freight Corridor project, as we talked about forever, it will help support not only the forest, but the manufacturing sector as it is here to move products here from Mason County. Manufacturing, I love this art project. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Anyway, so manufacturing benefits from affordable space, public support, and strong entrepreneurial spirit. Challenges like many of these other subsectors or these other sectors include lack of affordable workforce housing and distance to major hubs. We do have some new opportunities though. I'm sure you guys have heard already about the shipyard infrastructure optimization program with the Navy. The dry dock up there in Bremerton isn't big enough, so they are looking elsewhere to spend that big pot of money to manufacture and work on stuff with the Navy. We do need to support this industry in workforce recruitment, training, and eventually transitions, so that we can keep those manufacturing jobs here. They are typically higher wage jobs. But again, tying it back to legislative priorities, workforce training, State Route 3 Freight Corridor, especially when we're thinking about that Navy project, and advocating for affordable housing. I think that's another place to do this. And agriculture and aquaculture, another shocker here. Joking. Anyway, so this is definitely a historical industry for us as well. We do have the perfect environment here in Mason County for this industry to thrive. Look at those location quotients, 584 and 67 for seafood processing. But when I told you guys earlier that one is our baseline here, we are absolutely killing it here. So we are facing major labor shortages, limited housing or affordable workforce housing, high shipping costs, and typically lower than average wages. There is opportunity to advance, so it's not always like that. However, there is an opportunity to grow public understanding of what these jobs actually are. Not everybody wants to sit behind a desk like I do. Some people want to work outside. Some people want to work with their hands. So we're able to communicate the value of these jobs and the bigger picture of what they're contributing to here in Mason County would probably help this industry attract and retain a workforce. We also have the opportunity to partner with local institutions like hospitals and schools to do a farm to table type thing, just further helping them out. So the legislative priority connection, again, workforce training and advocating for affordable housing to attract and retain employees. And last but not least, accommodation and food services. So I wasn't too shocked on this. However, the sector includes hotels, grocery stores, food service providers, and this one I was a little shocked about, the assisted living facilities. Totally makes sense. But while wages tend to be lower, it does play a critical role in the quality of life here in Mason County, hence why it's important. Kind of has some connections to the healthcare and social services industry. We do have an aging population, we do have a need. This is a really important industry to support. If this industry is supported, they can expand and they can diversify, leading to a greater quality of life for everybody. All right, so the next steps, basically about those key legislative priorities that we talked about throughout, we're gonna be focusing on those. But another way that we can support these target industry sectors is one, providing that coordinated workforce development support. We've already done something similar with the local manufacturer, bringing together all the colleges to make sure that what they're teaching their students is actually going to be applicable to the professions that they're going after. Two, expanding the supply chain connections, State Route 3 Freight Corridor. And three, facilitating access to infrastructure, training, and other resources. So.
Any questions?
Tana.
Just looking at your data, it looks like affordable housing is a key component of what we can do to stimulate our economy and our workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. So housing is a key element of any economic development strategy. You know, the city has worked really hard to modernize its infrastructure to be able to attract housing development. The city is great to see dirt moving, houses being built here. Likewise, you know, it's same situation in Belfair and North Mason County. Really being able to supercharge our urban growth areas, which are designed to accommodate that density and being able to, you know, just kind of work on some additional infill development opportunities in the city. I think is a great opportunity. There's a lot to be said about the impact housing can have on your economy, whether that's, you know, helping people, you know, transition out of, you know, homelessness into safe, stable housing. You know, people moving up from starter homes and through that element spectrum. But I think it's also important to note, if you're concerned about sales tax revenue and growth, every new rooftop here is also its own retail point of sale, but how we're able to collect sales tax in Washington State. So definitely serves multiple benefits, and you know, we're leaning into housing and trying to attract developers and get them connected with property owners and benefiting their lane development as well.
I think this council is hungry for the multifamily tax exemption that we're going to talk about in the near future. So we can bring developers and also set aside workforce housing for folks at a little bit below the market rate. So thank you for bringing this in front of us, and hope that informs this council's decisions in the future.
For sure, super supportive of the multifamily tax exemption. I think that's a really important tool to have in the toolbox. Mason County up in Belfair has let their multifamily tax exemption lapse. Recently made comments at a planning commission meeting to encourage the county to work with the city on bringing their MFT back. And not just doing it in the Belfair urban growth area, but incorporating Shelton urban growth area as well as the Allen urban growth area. So a lot of opportunity to have that policy really be effective for the community. It would be great to see the county actually lean in and work with the city on that.
Thank you for your work, Kevin and Tiana, and thank you for presenting it to us. And I hope that we can move forward with make the partnership in the future. Thanks.
What can the city do to assist you? And is there a big need, do you think, for more affordable rentals, or are we just looking at, you know, homes?
Yeah, all of the above. So if you are interested in doing one thing, it should be housing, and it should be any kind of housing. A lot of work has been done on having ADUs and having, you know, maybe changing some of the, you know, your
Lot size.
yeah,
Height
lot lines. Yeah, absolutely. And certainly now that, you know, you're going through your comprehensive plan updates, as is the county, provides a perfect opportunity to really take a look at those things and develop strategies. You know, a couple of years ago, the county did a housing needs assessment for the community. That was just updated as part of their comprehensive plan update process. There's a whole list of recommendations within that housing needs assessment. Pick one, pick any one. Go after it and, let's try to encourage some housing development here, really of any kind.
Yeah, we had an opportunity for quite a large workforce housing project and I didn't get any traction to it. So we still have that 90 acres up there by the YMCA that we could, RFP out or request a proposal to see if anybody's interested in developing that land. Maybe it's a multi-use project for affordable workforce housing, rentals, homes, apartments, townhouses. I mean, obviously it's would be a great location for it and it's within we got a lot of infrastructure up there, so.
I guess that's the other component, when you talk about what the city can do, and partnering on things. I think the city has a great capital facilities plan that they're working to get funded and bring projects here. Certainly water infrastructure is a critical component of that. I've talked to Mark and Jay about that quite often. And so we are also, a cash extraction operation at the EDC. So we're always on the hunt for grant opportunities to, bring partners like the city. So we'll keep doing that. And, I know that the city's really committed to doing those projects. Those things go hand in glove. So being able to have modern infrastructure available and ready and, willing developers to do projects here, those things go hand in glove in order to get those projects to work.
Well, we definitely would like your support on a 1.5 million gallon water tank we're going to need here in the near future that you can work on your legislative agenda as well, because that's going to be a necessity for us. It's about a $5 million project, we think, and about a 5-year build. So
We'll check the calculation.
all right. Any other questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all for your service. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. We have another presentation, Mason County Forest Festival. Vice President Amy Cooper has details for us. Hi, Amy.
So I'm pulling double duty tonight. Do you want me to just back to back my reports?
Are they?
Are they on there?
Yes, they are. So yes, you may.
Okay, so I am here to report on 2 LTAC funding projects. The first one being Mason County Forest Festival. We celebrated our 81st festival this past May, early June. It was a wonderful weekend. It's always fun. So I'm gonna just kind of break out each event and how it did. Starting bright and early, Saturday morning with the Goldsboro Creek Run happening on May 31st. It had 165 entrants, which is 18% more than what they had last year. And a total of 33 of those participants were from. As always, the firefighters at Central Mason put on a delicious pancake breakfast. You will everybody up before the parade. Our parade saw 95 entries. Last year for our 80th, we had 98 entries. So we were quite surprised to kind of stay at that level. A nice, long, fun parade. We see people coming in from all over the state to be in our parade, especially the visiting royalty. So it's always a good time for everybody. And just a side note too, our parade was bigger than the Seafound Parade show.
Oh, thank you.
Let's see, we have 55 vendors at Leap Field on Saturday for the logging show, as well as the car show, so 55 combined. And it's estimated that a quarter of those vendors travel from Ogden County to visit us. And we estimate that roughly 3,000 people attended the logging show. The vendors stayed busy the entire time. The festival, since we're no longer, or Steel is no longer funding the logging show the same way they had several years ago, we are having to fund a lot more of that logging show. But we're unwilling to give it up. We got a couple logging show. Our carnival was very well attended. We had an extra weekend this year. Actually, I had 2 extra weekends. And we may see that continue. It's starting with the carnival on Memorial Day weekend, and then moving into Forest Festival weekend. Our carnival says every year they love that downtown location. They have had the most traffic there
than in any of our other carnival locations, so it's working well for them. Rock in the Forest on Saturday evening was another great event. They added a cornhole tournament, which was a surprising draw for them. They saw a lot more people come out to play some cornhole. And we estimate that about 3,000 people went to the fireworks show Saturday night. On June 1st, the ROTC boosters and cadets had an awesome fun show. They had over 460 cars. And I think that's the most they've had in several years. It was a beautiful day. They deserved it very much. And we saw the Kiwanis duck drop during the logging show, which was a new pivot this year, and I think it was super successful. It was great to have the duck drop within another Forest Festival event that everybody got to watch. It was a great visual to have somebody way up in this piece of equipment dumping all these yellow ducks down to the ground. So loved that. I think it'll continue that way as well. And then Friday night, we hosted the KMES Family Fun Night. Been a bit lower numbers in attendance this year, mostly because it was an off year, so it wasn't a Smoky celebration, so Smoky Bear wasn't there. And we also did not decide to do a beer garden. We had a last night, and the beer garden will be back next year. And then lastly, we held a royalty tea party. It was our third annual, I think, on the Colonial House in July. We sold out. We had 90 guests. And this has been a really great tradition. We see a lot of the same faces over and over again, bringing their kids, their grandkids, to hang out and have, you know, a quintessential garden tea party. It's a lot of fun. Our royalty court, they attended 6 to 8 other festivals with our float. So they spent the summer traveling around the state, including the Seafair Parade. They got their little 15 minutes of fame on TV, doing their little dance routine on the float. So they stay out there and they continue to talk about music happening and where they're from and, you know, how great it is for them. And lastly, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the Shelton Police and the City Parks Department. We were blown away with the support we got this year. All of our volunteers, we couldn't stop talking about it, so thank you. It was amazing. And we just really felt like this was a true community event that everybody came together and made happen. So, and we absolutely appreciate LTAC funds every year. This festival can be fun. Thank you. Any questions on Forest Festival?
Can I wait till the end?
All right. Okay, so now I'm putting on my Shelton Downtown Merchants hat, and I'm here to report on our second annual Art Walk. So the Art Walk was hosted on June 28th, and by our estimations, we think, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 people attended. It was a big event. It consisted of a maker's market, an artist showcase, and about 20 businesses. We had a performance stage, we had food trucks, we had kids' activities, and we had a live mural happening on the side of Coke Street. It's an important addition to downtown. We see a lot of familiar faces, but we also see a lot of new faces at this event. And we get comments like, I feel safe here. I feel seen here. You know, thank you for supporting the arts. And so we see a much wider demographic of people come to our art events. It's really exciting. So we held an 8-hour event. So it gave plenty of time for people to mingle all around town and see what was going on. The businesses that were hosting artists saw increased foot traffic. The restaurants and coffee shops stayed busy, with all the attendees as well. And we look forward to the 3rd annual Art Walk, which will be happening in July of 2026. And again, thank you to the LTAC committee for your support. you could listen to that.
Thank you.
Questions?
Questions?
I have a comment. I have people who come from towns all over the place and they say that we have more activities and things to do here than major cities. So people would rather come here, plus they say it's easier to park. So thank you for being part of that, making our towns the fun town to go to.
Yeah, the more we can do, and the more we can partner with other events that are happening and create reasons for people to stay. To come and visit and stay overnight. That's how we get our funding. That's what the LTAC funding comes from. And so we really focus on, you know, what other entities are doing things, who can we work with? And, you know, they're having an event on this day, why don't we do an event the next day? And then, yeah, we have that reason to come and stay. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good job.
Just wanted to lay out all my gratitude for all the things that you do and that the merchants do and Chamber of Commerce and everyone who gets together. The mayor said the other day about all the different clubs that got involved and almost 100 floats out there. People are getting out, touching grass, as they say, right? And getting the families out and really having that smiles on people's faces about being outside and the joy of being here in Shelton. So thank you for bringing that out all the time and also when coming up during Christmas. So I think we need to continue supporting the LTAC, bringing in people from outside to share the wonder and beauty of our place and our space. But downtown is such a key part of that. And the Creative Arts District, that's also bringing in new members and new revenue streams and money's green, right? So let's and Mesa County's green, let's keep it green. I hope that we can all, you know, share our LTAC money and keep growing together. And thank you for being part of that.
I got a comment, I guess. I want to thank you and all your volunteers. And if it wasn't for organizations like yours and all of the clubs in town, I say it all the time that we wouldn't have any of these functions. And it's really what makes Shelton special. I mean, I'm sure that the LTAC funds don't cover all the hard work that you guys do.
No, they don't,
So,
but they help, and it's important.
yes.
And I appreciate your comment, and I appreciate your continuing. Because whether it's Forest Festival or Oyster Fest or Bluegrass Snowboards, these are all volunteer groups doing things out of the kindness of their hearts. And so if you're looking for something to support, find one of us.
Yep.
And put it to work.
Perfect. That was my next sentence. Stole it from me.
Thank you.
But thank you, Amy. All right. Right now, we have a presentation for July financial status report from our interim finance director, Jerry Schnitzer.
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor and Council. Well, Mark brings up the financials, talk a little bit about our investments, which I like to talk about. So our local government investment pool account is just over 18.847 million right now and holding at about 4.4% earnings. And our US bank bond investments is at 6.5 million. And we will next week have 2 bonds maturing of $400,000 each. So I will most likely invest that $800,000 back into LGIP since it's performing so well right now. So now that Mark had that up, we go into the financials. We're continuing to do well. You know, a little bit at a time. Our variance is still favorable, but still with a caution that we still have the construction months that we're still working through. This is just July, and we'll still be watching this as the months progress.
Sorry, I was trying to make it bigger on the screen and I showed my frustration and fouled that up. So I'll do it this way.
So then on page 2, we'll go into the revenues for general fund, which the variance will show you why we're doing better than we anticipated when the 2025 budget was put together. noticeably, the license and permits, as you know, we're doing well with those, the permitting for the new homes. This is a one-time money, so just keep that in mind that it's not ongoing. Our charges for goods and services, just wanted to remind you what those consist of, which is the payments from the Shelton Metropolitan Park District billings, the recreation and activity fees, the plan review fees, animal control fees, inspection fees, and our interfund service transfers from the other funds. Then we also have doing well in our miscellaneous revenue. That is mostly due to the interest rates that we are getting on our investments. So plus we've received a couple of big donations, especially to our police department. Then on page 3, we have our general fund overview of expenditures. And they're falling in line with how we budgeted for 2025. A little bit, we're falling in a favorable balance right now. But I still caution that we're still just midway through the year. Plus the savings has been a lot due to the openings of our FTEs that we have, and I'll go through that in the next prior to page 7. Which then page 4 and 5 is our general fund year to year, and then the month to month, just showing how our revenues and expenditures are flowing from year 23, 24, and 25. We'll go to page 7, which is our fund balances. I just wanted to highlight it, the fund balances. You could see in the change column, they're kind of in the negative, which means that we're using ending fund balance. So, we're using the money that has been growing within that fund, but we're drawing it down a little bit. So this citywide FTEs, we currently in general fund, we have 5.5. That is up 1 position from June, which is the vacancy of a police officer. Okay. The other funds stayed at 4 in the utilities industry.
Terry, really quick, I just want to make it clear that you say draw down or any fund balance, we're drawing down unallocated money, not our 20% reserve. Make sure that we're not using that 20%. That's just money we would normally use for one-time, projects.
Yeah. Thank you. And then just 8 through 12 is just the citywide overview of our revenues and expenditures. But with that, if anybody has any questions.
Questions? It's looking a little better than it is beginning of the year. So
A little bit.
hope it keeps going.
Yes.
I can thank you and your staff for all your hard work. You've taken on a lot of responsibilities after Mike left and doing a great job. Thank you and your staff.
Great job. I like it every month. So let's keep going in that
With
direction.
caution.
Yeah.
All right. Another question?
Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Right. Now we're on business agenda, and the first up is Aaron next for EMR equipment purchase.
Mayor, Council, thank you for the opportunity here. I got stuck with large expenditures. You sort of think what I'm going to talk about are items that were budgeted last year that you guys approved in the 2025 budget. Obviously, when you're in the public works sector, there is a lot of machinery and equipment that's associated with that work. as you will see, and what I'll tell you, the equipment that we're talking about replaces equipment at a minimum that are 25 years old. Very minimum. So we are trying to kind of get rid of stuff, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff kind of serves as a backup role. It can't be used as primary, just because, well, not the case of crack sealing with only one machine, but we're finding that we're spending a lot more time repairing these machines and trying to get them functional as opposed to purchasing a new one. And candidly, 25 years is a long time to pass with regard to safety, as well as the power associated with these machines. So these are large expenditures, I tell you that. That's the reality of it. But I will tell you positively, we've actually been able to find the resources that we need for a significant reduction than was actually done. As an example, we had budgeted $640,000 for these 4 items. We're actually down to the $500,000 level. So I'll go through them quickly. We have a backhoe. That's a 29-year-old backhoe asset. It's got over 5,000 working hours. It is serving in a backup capacity at our treatment plant. If the loader has an issue, then we can utilize that. It's really at its end of life. We are having hydraulic issues. So again, does it serve the primary role? We'll see as I will bring another resolution when I'm done with here. We're going to try to get money back from resources that we have. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Obviously, like I mentioned, the newer machines have more safety features and more power. You do it more efficiently and more safe. So I'm just trying to show you the benefit of us moving that direction. The other piece that we have is a crack sealing machine. That's in essence is a machine that has a hopper in it. It has that liquid asphalt that they use to fill crack sealing pieces. That one spends more time in the shop. We're proposing to get rid of that 25-year-old asset and purchase something new. The last one is a hook lift truck with accessories. The beauty about this is we're actually going to get rid of, I believe it's a 1993 Chevy 3500 flatbed that has many miles on it. What we're proposing is to do a lift truck that will provide us with many different bed options with regard to hauling things, using it as a dump truck. It's going to have a plow. It's going to be able to do snow removal, all of that stuff. So we're proposing to purchase a hook lift truck with accessories. And I did outline all of that, obviously within the agenda briefing, but I've also included all the POs with regard to what we plan to purchase. Again, under budget. In essence, you would authorize $640,000. The total for these purchases for $504,000, so $136,000 less. I'm ready and willing to answer any questions for you. I will tell you I neglected to put pictures of current inventory. I will bring that to you if indeed it goes to the action agenda. So,
Mary, may I have a reading of resolution number 1399-0825?
Resolution number 1399-0825. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to sign purchase orders for the acquisition of PM&R, equipment, maintenance, and rental fund, vehicles and equipment as adopted in the fiscal year 2020.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to place resolution number 1399-0825 on the October 7th, 2025 council meeting action agenda for further consideration.
Second.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, can I describe the EM&R fund or the equipment maintenance and revolving fund? So this is a fund, this equipment is being proposed to purchase out of that manages all the heavy equipment within the city of Shelton. So it's our grader, it's the backhoes, it's dump trucks and things like that. This fund is supported by all the funds that use that equipment basically on a lease or rental rate for this distinct purpose of replacing this equipment when it comes into life. So the backhoe, the assistant director and Nick's was talking about has been paid for through this rental fund from this water utility, sewer utility, parks, street, over the years for the express purpose of replacing it when it's able to be replaced. So that's why these funds are set aside distinctly in this EM&R fund for the replacement of this equipment.
Thank you. All right, council have any comments or questions?
Thank you for planning ahead with that.
The roads and our infrastructure is our number one priority, I think, on this council. And I think we're all proud of our pavement condition index that has gone up slightly. We'd like to continue on that pace of increasing our pavement condition index. And I think these machines, 21st century machines, will do a lot better in that efficiency as we update from 20th century. So I'm all in favor of moving this forward and making sure that we have the top-notch equipment for our local employees.
Council and Mayor, I just wanted to add, I didn't add this to it. All of the procurement on this was done through state contracts and go over through Sourcewell, which are all basically contracts that the state has that they ensure that we get the best prices. So it's not like we went out and solicited bids. We went through the system.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic program with the EMR, then how they basically, it pays for itself out of the work from the old one and we're, that's a great program. We definitely get a real deal around there, it's not fun.
How soon will we have the new equipment and can we come see it?
Absolutely. I would suggest that we demonstrate it in the event.
Yeah.
Procurement, geez, 6 months.
Okay.
That we're thinking probably about 6 months. I would say early next year.
Okay.
They will actually be delivered.
All right. Okay, we have a motion and a second to place the resolution number 1399-0825 on October 7th, 2025. Action agenda for further consideration. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. We now have another one from Aaron.
Thank you, sir. Council. We want to hold ourselves accountable, and that's what we're trying to do here. I want to caveat this with, as I told you, as these things get older, we want to get as much money possibly that we can so that we can lessen the impact on the budget, obviously. I included what you'll see is resolution 1400-0825. Under policy, we have to bring any asset that we want to surplus to the council in excess of $10,000. You're going to say, but Aaron, what the heck? I identified 3 pieces of equipment here. 2 of them fall under that threshold. And the reason why I did that is I wanted to hold us accountable to show you that we are getting rid of the equipment that we're getting rid of the old and we're getting new. So the desire here is I just wanted to show you that we still need you to approve a resolution specifically for the backhoe. That estimated value is about $22,000. I'm just going to read this out so that the public can understand. The crack sealing machine estimated about $5,000. So for that, we have a 1993 Chevy a 3500 flatbed truck. I think we'd be at $2,200. So I just wanted to let you know that there's no magic balls or anything like that. We are really honestly trying to get rid of stuff as you allow us to get. So if there's any questions, I included the policy just for you so that you have this reference. The desire is if you would please looking to get this onto the action agenda at your next item so that we can move on the service.
Thank you. Mary, can I have a reading of resolution number 1400-0825?
Resolution number 1400-0825. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, declaring vehicles and equipment surplus to the needs of the city and disposing of such vehicles and equipment for the contract.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to place resolution number 1400-0825. October 7th, 2025, council meeting action agenda for further consideration.
All right. Comments or questions?
Aaron, thank you for the transparency and bringing this to us, making sure that we need to make sure we get the best value and for our money.
Council, we're appreciative. Thank you.
Is this, when we send those things, does it go back to the EMR fund to fund future, or does it go to the general fund?
Yep.
The assets, yes, the assets that will be, but it will go into that fund.
All right, we have a motion and a second to place resolution number 1400-0825 on October 7th, 2025. Action agenda for further consideration. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're on the first action item. Red business license interim finance director Terry Schnitzer.
Mayor, Council, tonight the business license model ordinance, specifically addressing the exemption, section 5.04.040. And this is the special exemption from 2,000 to 4,000 for any business in the city that who does not maintain a place of business within the city. So, and I will tell you that I did not have a clean version in the packets. I did have a clean version to the city clerk Mary this evening for to sign these two. And with that, council.
Thank you, Terry. Anyone have a public comment? Right, we have a reading of ordinance number 2032-0725.
Ordinance number 2032-0725. An ordinance of the city of Shelton, Washington, amending section 5.04.040 of the Shelton Municipal Code relating to businesses.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, move to adopt ordinance number 2032-0725 as written.
All right, comments or questions?
I just wanted to reiterate what I said 2 weeks ago. This is a really good opportunity for small businesses that we raised the bottom number so that we're not so onerous in taxation, especially for a small business. And I about I think our farmers market or other small businesses and everything. Thank you for updating us, and I will continue with watering this and
Right. We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 2032-0725 as written. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next we have a resolution related to adopting the city's ADA transition plan. Assistant Director, Public Works Director, Aaron Nix has details.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I brought to you this on a couple occasions. We did a study session on it. This is the ADA transition plan. Basically, it's looking at all of our right of ways, sidewalks, ramps, everything, and identifying ADA obstacles. As we discussed during the study session, as well as other times, that equates to about $29 million worth of improvements that need to happen. Candidly, not doable at this point for us. So the idea with these things, this was a requirement that has been brought on by the transportation funding groups. In essence, you need to identify your obstacles within the right of ways and then develop a plan and move forward. So as we discussed in that study session, I think we're allocating about 100,000 each year for that. In order to complete all of the improvements at that funding level, it put us at for years when we'll actually get to that. The reality is that concrete and that work is expensive. So we're going to do the best that we can, but it's been identified. We'll also mention that we have an app that's being developed that will allow us that as these are being fixed, the app will actually take that information and update it to let us know that those numbers are going to be reduced, obviously, if we're improving them. Part of the problem that I told you guys with ADA and those types of issues is that they change often. And the reality is that sidewalks and curbs that we put in 10 years ago are not in compliance with that. Push buttons is another big thing. Push buttons to get across the road. It has to be at a certain height, those kinds of things. That should change. So I don't want to say this is a moving target, but it kind of is because it's dependent on whatever the regulators, how they change their mind or want to do something different. This, though, was a, for us, established and identified priorities and how we need to move forward in regard to addressing those. That's what they asked me. So with that, I'm asking you to adopt this. Again, this will another check mark that we can place when we do grant applications to say we've completed that. And here we're demonstrating that we're solving this problem. So if you have any questions, we kind of went into this lengthy so no one answer any of those.
Right. Any public comments?
No, we don't.
A reading of resolution number 1397-0725.
Resolution number 1397-0725. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, adopting the July 2025 ADA transition plan produced by Transco Group Inc.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt resolution number 1397-0725 as written.
All right. Comments or questions?
I just wanted to remind us all that we celebrated the 35th anniversary of the ADA here in this chamber, and with the People First group that brought it up and about how they're, as adults, they need accessibility for their conditions. And we know that this is a costly program, but it's also a good faith effort for us to comply when things in the future, if we're seen for, at least we're trying for compliance, and that we have something to aspirational to shoot for. This is what the city can be, although it's expensive. This is what it costs to get a fully accessible sidewalk, streets, and it's a although we might not make it there, I think this is a good direction and showing a good faith effort to getting there. So thank you for your work in this, and I hope that we can get a few of these projects here, just like the Western Gateway project and Railroad Downtown. And if we can be like that, we get our paper condition index up again, I think it's a really more beautiful place to live.
I might add just quickly, it's not all just expenditures with regard to us saying we have to spend all this amount of money on this. What we're trying to do is we're trying to wrap these improvements in the capital projects too. So the street needs to be overlaid, maybe look at the maps and see for a minimal amount, let's include that as part of the project. So that's another way that you can do this.
Well, I definitely know that it is very important to be able to accommodate people. I'll say it out loud, it's another unfunded mandate by the state. So hopefully we get a lot of help with this over the years, so it doesn't take us 100 years to do it. Comments? All right. We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1397-0725 as written. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Oh, motion carries. Aaron, don't go far.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We're asking to skip the three touch rule in this particular one. This is relevant because we've got the cost estimates. I believe this building was redone in 1999 as a component of that. It upgraded some systems. What I'm going to talk to you about is the fire panel that we have in this in the Civic Center, as well as the 100+ sensors associated with the fire panel and recognition. I will tell you, in the 2+ years that I've been here, we've had 3 fire alarms go off, and candidly, it's not clear if whether there was a fire or not. And this is what this project is going to try to address. That equipment was installed in 1999. It's outdated. Sensors are worn out. They need to get replaced. So similarly, was able to find more state contract procurement. We found a firm, Guardian Security Systems, that gave us a bid to replace the panel, and the 100+ sensors were a cost of about $126,000. Now, originally we had budgeted $147,000. So again, we're seeing that by us using that state procurement, you're getting much better rates. So we're hoping that you guys will bypass the pre-touch rule so we can get going on this. We want to try to get this done by the end of the year. That, in addition to security, parking improvements, we're making some very positive, the UPS that you just approved, we're making some very positive strides in getting this up to where it needs to be. So, willing to answer any question.
Thank you, Aaron. Do we any public comment?
No, we don't.
May I have a reading of resolution number 1402-0925.
Resolution number 1402-0925. A resolution of the city of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to enter into a purchase services agreement with Guardian Security Services Inc. for services and materials to replace the existing fire alarm panel and related sensors at the site.
Thank you, Mary. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, move that we bypass the three-touch rule and approve resolution number 1402-0925 as written.
Thank you. Comments or questions?
You know, it's all about safety with me, so.
Quick comment, just thank you for using that procurement list. If I'm not mistaken, not only does it give us pre-bargained prices, but it also bypasses our hire process, so it'll just along a little bit quicker and save us a lot of work at home.
Right, add one more to they pay for it. Which is on, it can be a significant expense. I mean, a building permit is based on cost of the thing, you know, so the cost of what you're replacing or rebuilding, that can 10% of that's.
Right.
So yes, that's another, I just want to share. So thank you. Thank you.
You know, the city needs to be prepared, especially in emergency situations, and this is another step in our being that person that people can call and that we're going to be open for business when something happens. So thank you very much in your work on this behalf.
All right, we have motion and a second to bypass the three-touch rule and approve the resolution number 1402-0925 as written. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Woo-hoo, we're getting there. Mark, you have manager report for us tonight.
Couple things. It's almost leaf season, right? They're starting to fall a little bit. Want to remind council will be out as diligently as we can with street sweepers and blowers and everything, but we rely upon the community to help us out in these instances, clear out storm drains, starts raining. Don't blow the leaves out of your yard into the street, right? Just compounds the issues too. So with a little help, hopefully we won't see those big monsoon rains for a little while. You know, we always get kind of a late summer around here and get those leaves picked up and we don't see some of that urban flooding. Coda Street revisions. We're working on the communication right now. We're planning on the second week of October for that work. So we'll get a flyer, get some more information out through social media channels, do some direct outreach on Coda Street. There will be some intermittent closures down there, probably block by block, but again, we'll be able to communicate that with the community, and most likely it's probably 2 days, hydro stripping 1 day, painting the next day, weather permitting. So we're looking forward to getting that project complete. And then next week, just want to emphasize the study session, 2026 budget preparation, focusing on the general fund next week. So we'll go through the budget calendar, our preparation, requests from council, projections on revenue and expenditures, and as much hard work has been gone into this year and this year's budget and trying to reconcile and you know, make sure that variance is as little as possible, the negative variance in the budget. It doesn't mean that next year is going to be necessarily much better when we continue that variance and we continue with flat revenue streams. So a bunch of work to do still. We're looking forward to input from the council on what your priorities are and how we move forward so we can further develop that to bring back to you in public hearings in November for final adoption.
All right. Anybody have any comments or questions for Mark? All right. So our next, the council have any item for discussion? We have a study session, as Mark mentioned, on the 23rd at 6 p.m. to discuss budget discussion and ad valorem taxes. And our next meeting on October 7th, we're going to have presentations from Domestic Violence Awareness Month, Bluegrass from the Forest Health Factory Report. On our business item, we're going to have a right-of-way franchise agreement. We're going to amend some city code for compost per permit. We're going to talk about the crosstown trail phase design work, and our action agenda will be everything we talked about tonight. And this study session this meeting will be adjourned at 7:09 p.m.
Thank you.